And welcome, Andrew. And we'll get underway. Ian, first question.
Hey, Andrew. Obvious first question. Can you give us an update on the strength of the playing squad? Have we got 11 players for tomorrow's match?
Yeah, we have about 14 out now, George. Josh arrived late last night. So it's just Gareth, Harry and Craig that aren't with us at the moment.
The ones that arrived last night, they're available to play tomorrow?
No, they won't play tomorrow.
No. So you're having to go into the T20 squad, obviously, to fill out this ODI squad, yeah?
Sorry?
You're having to go into the T20 squad to get a squad to get a team for tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have to go into the T20 squad to get the T20 team out tomorrow.
Sorry, the other way around, do the squad.
Yeah. No, we don't have to. No. We'll be picking from the T20 squad for tomorrow.
Very good. As this messing about with the squad, has it affected your approach to the match? Or is it always going to be about winning, or are you planning after the T20 stuff to plan for future opportunities?
No, we're going in to win the games, to win all the games we play out here. It's a different challenge. It's a new ground that we've not played. We've never played in. It's a team we've not played much against. So there was a bit of disruption with COVID tests and stuff like that. But I think the 11 we'll go in with tomorrow should be an exciting 11, and hopefully we can start the tour off well.
What's your first impressions of the new interim head coach?
Yeah, really good. It's obviously not an easy job to come in just for a short period of time, but he's made really good tracks. I think guys are really impressed with how he goes about it. He's getting around the group individually just to talk to them and sort of get to know them as well as possible in this short period of time. So yeah, he's come in without making too much of a fuss, and he's just blended in really nicely. And yeah, he knows what the task is ahead, and he's firmly looking forward to it.
Just one more from me. I've been meaning to ask this ever since the T20 World Cup, one of my bugbears. How did Simi Singh end up batting at number 9 in the World Cup? Was he only the 9th best batsman?
I don't know. It's a long time ago now. Yeah, that's probably where he was down to bat from the start. That's I think where he'd been batting for most of the World Cup games, if I can remember. But yeah, that's where he was.
Okay, John.
Sorry, you hearing me okay?
Yes.
Hi, Andy. How's it going? Tell
John.
us what the bubble is like there at the moment. I know it's tough being in a bubble at the best of times. How is it now?
It's not a bubble. Fortunately enough, we're able to get out and go to restaurants. Obviously, we're not allowed to sit in restaurants. We have to make sure that where we eat, we can eat outside, but we can go out for walks. We can go down to the beach. It's not a bubble, which is absolutely brilliant. It's the way, in my opinion, that it has to be going forward. I know we've had cases before we came out, which was annoying, but certainly the guys have been smart. So that bit of freedom makes it a completely different tour. A lot less stress, sitting in your room all day and twiddling your thumbs. So in that regard, it's great.
That must be a huge relief to you.
Huge relief, yeah. It almost makes you want to go on tour. I found it really tricky the last couple of tours, knowing that you wouldn't be able to do a lot. Naturally, you're there to play cricket, but you spend a lot of time on tour, and it can really get you down sitting in your room and doing the same thing every evening. So to be able to just even walk down to the coffee shop and pick up a coffee and go for a walk, just that sort of stuff that you took for granted before, it's just brilliant, and the guys are really enjoying it.
With the COVID cases in your camp, were you fearful that this might not go ahead, this leg anyway?
Yeah, I was. I think I was in the taxi on the way to the airport when I found out about the 3 cases that we had in Ireland, and then the 2 lads out here. But there was a part of me that was a touch concerned, but the guys who were at the airport, we just got on the plane and came out, and you know, it wasn't the most ideal day of flying. We were doing a lot of queuing and stuff like that, but we got out here safe and sound, and slowly, you know, we're starting to get the numbers back up to where we were, with guys arriving in So yeah, it's starting to look a bit better than maybe the start.
That's great. Are all the squads vaccinated now at this stage?
Yes, well, I think all of us are certainly double jabbed. I haven't had my booster, and I'm not sure many guys have had their boosters, just because we don't fall into the category that are getting boosted. So, although they are selling them around the corner shops around where we are here, but I've been advised not to go in and get them here.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you think that's important that the squad are all double vaccinated and then beyond that boosted?
Look, it's not really my place to say. I certainly will be getting the vaccine as soon as it comes about. I think it's a protection against what's going around at the moment, and there's so much kind of up in the air that the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to get jabbed and protect yourself and others around you. But I'm not going to say that everyone should be double or should be jabbed. That's completely their opinion. But I know when my opportunity comes, I'll be jumping into the top of the queue, hopefully, and getting it.
Okay, and what kind of games are you expecting against the USA? Unknown quantity for a lot of us here. What's the expectation?
Yeah, then they've had their complications with COVID as well, so they're kind of bringing guys in. That Scott Irvine, who's not out here at the moment, he's been he's been sending us the footage of the guys that have just come into the squad. So we're sort of learning on the day by day of who they're bringing in and stuff. But I think we've prepared really well with the adversity that we've had at the start of the tour. We've done our best, and I think the guys are just raring to go tomorrow.
Just a reminder, if you have any questions, just use the raise hand function. So Matt Roller from Quick Info.
Hi Andy. Just a big picture one, I guess, to start. You've got a big month or so, I guess, coming up with games against US and then onto the Caribbean. Can you just sort of detail what you're hoping to achieve from both of those tours? I guess there's some important series in there towards qualification for World Cups.
Yeah, it's slightly different in the sense that the World Cricket League has taken a bit of a different look at it. Certainly with naturally you want to qualify for the World Cup, but these were big games in the sense that you didn't want to drop off and finish towards the end of the bottom of the pile. So it is still potentially in our hands to qualify for this World Cup, and that starts in the Caribbean against the West Indies. I think we started the cycle of this. Oh no, sorry, it was just before the World Cricket League came in. We were out in the Caribbean and we had some really good games out there. The US leg we're really excited for as well. It's you can't really hide away from the fact that we were really disappointed after the T20 World Cup, and this is just a chance for us to go out and try to play with a bit of freedom and just give the guys some confidence and hopefully to go out to express themselves. It's easy to say that and easy to say it to the guys. They've got to go out and do it. We've all got to go out and do it once we get over that line. But I've seen a lot of good stuff in the short period that we've had here. Guys are enjoying themselves, and that there is a bit of buzz around. And going back to the last point, I think the fact that guys are able to kind of go to a shop or go to a restaurant, that just has a knock-on effect on how everyone's feeling, and hopefully that sort of bit of freedom gives us that freedom when we go out and play as well.
Just on the Super League, could you give us a bit of a reaction to what it means for Ireland that it's been cancelled for the second edition, and sort of your reaction to that?
My reaction is I'm disappointed. I think it's a great thing for countries who aren't in the Super League to strive towards. Certainly Holland had that opportunity in this World Cricket League to play against the top teams, and they've had some really good performances in the short games they played, and they're games that the countries below where we are need to play to see how they can go against those countries, but also to try to get numbers in the country and kids to want to follow them. We've had a good moment in that World Cricket League, but we've also had some pretty disappointing moments, and that's been the disappointment is the inconsistency. I won't lie. Certainly the getting relegated from that league had some huge knock-on effects and some potentially damning years ahead. So there's a bit of, without kind of beating around the bush, there's a bit of a weight off the shoulder in that regard. But I think long term, for for the worldwide game, I think it's a disappointing move, but something that we can't control.
And just lastly, again, sort of bigger picture stuff. I saw you tweeting the other day, sort of tongue in cheek about Test cricket and the fact you haven't played in, I guess, 2.5 years now. But could you just sort of talk, about how frustrating that wait has been, and I guess the sort of the slightly weird status you've had for the last 2.5 years, sort of Test playing nation, but almost in name only.
Yeah, it's something I've harped on about a lot, without really anything coming from it. We are a full member and a Test member, but in name, and that's it. We've had our day out at Lords, we've had our day out in Malahide, but apart from that, all I can see is a name, a Test member. It's 2 years, it'll be 3 years in the summer that we haven't played a Test match. We lost county cricket, which in my opinion was hugely detrimental to the progression of some of the young cricketers here. And yeah, it's just massively disappointing. You're watching all these brilliant Test series around the world, and the Ashes particularly, staying up all night to watch such a historic series that, okay, we're never going to be part of, but you want to get that experience of, and I go back to that Lord's Test because it was the highlight of a career. And for the young guys coming up to maybe not have that experience again, or we don't know when it is going to come, is hugely disappointing. But I think it's, like I said, we're a Test member or a full member, but at the moment it only feels like a sort of a name, and nothing's really kind of shown for that.
Yes.
David Townsend.
Greetings, Skipper.
Hey, David.
Going back a couple of months to the World Cup, you've obviously had a chance to think about it and analyse it. Am I right in thinking part of the problem is that the batting at the moment is a little bit top heavy, in the sense that the openers are doing their job, but the momentum's not carrying on lower down? And if that is the case, what are you thinking of doing to address that?
Yeah, I think it was clear to see, and when we sat down after the World Cup, myself and the head coach at the time, and we looked at the areas that we kind of stumbled, particularly in that last game. I think it doesn't take rocket scientists to work out where we lost the game. We had a brilliant start, and we didn't capitalise on that start, and our boundary count in the middle hasn't been good enough or consistent enough, and that's something that we need to address. We've picked guys like Shane Geckade and William McClintock to potentially come in and do that job in the middle order. Shane's going to get a go at 5 tomorrow, and see how he goes with that. He's certainly, looking at him the last few days, he's been hitting the ball as clean as anyone, and he does hit the ball as clean as anyone, and he just needs that confidence to go out and know that that's his role, and he can just go out and play with that sort of free spirit. But yeah, it's something we've talked about. We don't want to kind of put too much pressure on our batters, but we understand that that's an area we need to improve, and hopefully we've got, I think, 5 or 6 games potentially before the qualifiers in February to hopefully get something going, and who knows, you might see a different approach by a lot of us going forward.
And I'm assuming that I think I read it somewhere. You'll be opening with Sterlo tomorrow. Yeah,
that's the plan. All going well. Myself and Paul are going to open the batting. We've had a good chat about it, the two of us, and it's something that we're both really excited for. We obviously know our games. We know each other's games pretty well. We've had some pretty good partnerships through the years. Probably more so in 50 over cricket, but we still know each other pretty well, and I think we're both excited for the challenge. I don't want to change his game too much. He's obviously playing some really good cricket, not just for Ireland but around the world. So we want him to continue that form, and me going up the order will create opportunity for other guys in the top 4 middle order. So we just want these guys to go out and express themselves and give it a good go over the next month.
Is that likely to be the opening partnership in the ODIs as well?
No, William's here and he's in the squad, so all going well. He'll open the batting and I'll bat 3. I think in 50 over cricket, I think our team is in a pretty good spot in 50 over cricket. We know we pretty much know our sort of 11 or 12 that's been there probably since the summer, maybe that South African series. So it's probably a more settled side in the 50 over team, but yeah, no, I'll be batting 3 once the ODIs start.
Thanks. Cheers.
Nathan from Irish Times.
Hi Andy, how you doing?
Hi, Nathan.
Just curious how I've seen some pictures on Twitter of the nets you've been having. The pitches look pretty worn. Is that a byproduct of the competition that's been going on out there?
It's quite interesting. We've had one strip out in the middle of the square, and then there's been a couple of AstroTurfs, and we arrived and we weren't sure how the middle wicket would play, but to be fair to it, it's actually stayed pretty good for 4 days, 3 days maybe. I can't remember. We're going down today, but it'll be more light session. When I first looked at it, I certainly thought it wouldn't last. I thought it would break up, but if anything, it's actually got a bit better as we've moved through the days. It's just stayed pretty consistent, not quick, pretty slow, but yeah, I've been kind of pleasantly surprised by the facilities, considering the tournament that they had building up to this. So yeah, there's no real excuses from that point of view.
And you've told us that Shane will be at 5 tomorrow. Are you able to tell us who will be replacing Gareth at 3?
I can't really, because I haven't spoken to the guys that potentially could have maybe gone to 3. So I think it's probably fair that I just maybe chat to them at training today. So if this interview is maybe this evening or later on, I may have been able to say, but I don't think that's fair just yet.
Yeah, fair enough, completely. Just about Gareth, I mean, obviously he was quite a big part of this, well, middle order revamp, if you want to call it that, in terms of getting him at 3 and, his boundary hitting ability. And obviously he's been going really well in American conditions recently. You said there's 5 or 6 T20 games before the next qualifiers. Is it frustrating that that plan has to be put back for another couple of weeks at least, especially given there's such limited time before the qualifiers?
It is, yeah. We'd spoken to Gareth about potentially the move up to 3, and he was pretty excited about it. I suppose the good thing is that he got games before we came out, so he's clearly in good nick. He's that sort of player. I don't think he necessarily has to be in nick all the time to produce the goods. So the fact that he's come out and played and had some really good innings is great. But also gives an opportunity to someone that maybe didn't think they'd be batting in the top 4 this series to have a good go at it. And that's, I suppose, the beauty of cricket, is that opportunities, if they don't come on another day, they may come in a couple of days' time or whatever that is. So yeah, it's disappointing for Gareth, but that's unfortunately just the way it's going at the moment with everything that's going on.
Bernard Whelan.
Hi Andy.
Hi
Andy, how are you? Just on the series, obviously you're focusing on this series against the USA, with the West Indies coming down along the line. Their series again in Pakistan obviously being postponed. Obviously, this is very important that you're getting game time now after quite a significant break. So obviously that's very important, and to try and play yourself into these kind of conditions that hopefully will be similar to what you'll face in the Caribbean.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a series that we didn't think we'd get. We thought we'd potentially just be going straight to the Caribbean and having a couple of warm-up games. So the fact that we can come out here and play competitive cricket before we go out in pretty similar conditions, certainly kind of heat-wise and acclimatization, I think it'll be very similar. I think there'll be a bit more pace in the wickets in the Caribbean, but then again, we might see some pretty quick wickets over the next couple of days, but I'd imagine they'll be fairly slow but consistent. But yeah, I think it's just it's certainly not a warm-up series. It's a really competitive series for us, and it's a series we want to win and bounce back from the disappointment a couple of months ago. But certainly, it's a really nice tour. It's a really nice month tour of a lot of games and
the USA themselves. I know that you've gone through some analysis of them. Do you think they're a side that are kind of improving and are moving up the order in world cricket, and that they'll provide a fairly stern challenge for you?
Yeah, I think so. They obviously qualified recently for the T20 World Cup qualifiers, which I believe they're playing in June. We're playing in February, but they're in a different group in June. So they'll be ambitious to qualify for that World Cup main group in October. It's clearly such a huge country and so many people over here, and I think they're desperate to get cricket on the sporting map. There's obviously some big sports over here to compete with, but they're making really good progress. And I kind of know a couple of the guys personally who work behind the scenes here, and I know that the ambition that they have, and I think the challenge is a big challenge for us to kind of make sure that we get some momentum going for this start of the leg, and hopefully take it forward into Jamaica.
And are you getting any feedback from you in the locality as to how this series is being received there?
Not really, no. Look, I've seen a few things online about some advertisements for tickets, but I suppose you don't really know until you're at the ground and what sort of a reaction you'll get here. We've had a few interesting interactions with some locals when we've been in our kit. We've been, a soccer team is usually what people think we are, but when you try to explain that you're a cricket team, it's a risky enough road to go down, because then you're making comparisons with baseball, and then you could be talking about anything. But it's really nice to come to new places, and it's a real privilege to be here as the first full member, and hopefully it can get good crowds down to the games, and we can have a bit of an impact on US cricket.
Malha.
Hi, Andy. How are you?
Hi, good, thanks.
Yeah, no, we saw during the World Cup and before that the one grey area for the T20 side was the lack of middle order partnerships and six-hitting firepower. How do you see the likes of Shane Getkidd and William McClintock sort of fitting into the equation in those roles, and whether they could be the right options in the lead up to the qualifiers?
Yeah, I think one point is that we've spoken to them about what we want them to do, and there won't be any sort of backlash from us if it doesn't work out. They're clearly in the team to hit boundaries, and that's what we want them to do. We don't want them to play any other roles. So hopefully they can do that for us. If they're the right personnel, I hope they are. I really do. I think certainly from what I've seen over the last few days, I think they could really fit the bill. But I suppose it's all well and good doing it in training, but you need to kind of produce the goods in games on a consistent basis. So hopefully a run of games for them can give them that confidence. So it'll be exciting to see how they go about their business over the next sort of kind of couple of months.
Right. And just speaking generally, there are so many types of successful T20 sides around the world. Is there a blueprint that you've laid out alongside the new coach David Ripley in terms of your approach towards playing the format?
I wouldn't say a blueprint. I think we've got around the guys individually and spoken to them about their roles in the team and what we want from them. That naturally that David's only here for a short time, and our main objective is to qualify for the next World Cup, and that's everything we're focused towards is that. We need to get the guys playing consistent cricket, and we need them to have clear roles. I think that going forward, that's going to be the best approach. I don't think we want to change too much, particularly in this short period of time. We've just got to get guys playing consistent cricket and confident cricket, because once the qualifiers come around, they're pretty quick and thick games, and guys need to be in good spaces, good head spaces once those games come around, because they're big games. So hopefully this series is the start of some confidence for the group.
Yeah, and just finally, apart from you and Paul Sterling, I think it must have been pleasing to see the likes of Curtis Camphor, Josh Little, and even Gareth Delaney get opportunities in the T10 and other franchise leagues recently. How crucial is it for these young players to rub shoulders with some of the best out there and have that exposure to big pressure moments?
Yeah, it's huge. Certainly, like I said earlier, with no county cricket really for the guys to play in, those leagues are critical. Josh obviously flew in last night from Sri Lanka, haven't been out of the Sri Lankan League, or the Lanka Premier League, I think it's called. And like you said, I don't think Gareth may have only played one game in the T10, but just to be around those guys on a regular basis and training with those guys and learning from them and talking to them, is just so valuable. Mark Adair was meant to be out there as well, but unfortunately he got injured. So that's why I think it was so disappointed that the World Cup didn't go well, because that next stage of the World Cup could have put some of our players on an even bigger shop window, which, you know, I think they deserve to be on, because we've got some really good cricketers. So yeah, certainly I think the more these guys play around the world, the better.
And finishing up with Ian.
Andrew, obviously disappointment to lose the warm-up match yesterday. Has it badly affected your preparations?
No, not really. I think the way it was shaping up, we were going to play a few of our players in the opposition, because I don't think they had too many players. But we had a pretty good session yesterday. We planned on having an open net, but because we were a bit short on the ground, we just stuck to a couple hours of really good sort of range hitting and stuff like that. So no, I don't think it's had too much of an effect on us, to be honest.
On the team, obviously with Harry in isolation, is he actually going to miss both T20s then?
As far as I'm aware, both Harry and Gareth won't be in contention for. Well, Harry's not in the T20 squad anyway, but
Yeah.
Harry and Gareth will both be out. I think they're due out on Christmas Day of their rooms.
So Gareth should be okay or Harry should be okay for the ODIs.
Yeah, all going well. He'll be good to go for the ODIs.
Mm-hmm. And finally, David Ripley was telling me that he likes a glue batsman, what he calls a glue batsman in T20s, somebody who can score 40, say, off 30 balls. Have you, presumably you've talked to him about that? Have you identified that batsman?
Yeah, we've spoken to a couple of the guys about the potential roles. It kind of depends on how we're going as a team and how maybe the guy at the other end's going, that sometimes you might need the set batsman to just play an anchor, and if the other guy's going really well. But a lot of the time T20 throws up a lot of different situations, so you don't necessarily want to tell someone to bat for 20 overs. If it's their day, go out and make sure it's your day. But certainly there are a couple of guys that we've spoken to about potentially just doing that, maybe just gluey role. But yeah, it's kind of open to suggestions of who that person may be.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's the last question there. Yep.
Just a quick one there, Craig, if you wouldn't mind
John,
sending that as
John.
past. Yeah, just send that into, or the recordings as soon as possible. I want to get in the air in the next half an hour, so it'll be great.
No problem. I'll save it down
Thank
and
you.
put it on Google Drive ASAP.
Cheers. And good luck, Andy.
Thanks, guys.
Happy Christmas, Andy.
And to you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Happy Christmas,
Bye.
Craig.
Thanks very much.
Happy Christmas,
Merry
Craig.
Christmas.
Cheers, guys.
See you. Bye. Happy Christmas, all.